Greetings. It's Uncle Vigilante. Welcome. It's my favorite day of the week. It's Friday, which means what? It's noon. It's Epic Cash Live. And I'm gonna show you something here. Let's first make sure I'm on mute. I am. The title of this show is Look at BTC Run, man. This has been an awesome week for BTC. And look, we're going to spotlight them, every week at this point in time. We have your favorite guy, apparently. I mean, everybody says we need more Enrique. He's just this handsome guy. We need more Enrique. So we got him on again, and he's going to talk about this chart. I'm going to share my screen, and we also have Yoga Dude with us. He is going to be incognito today. And we're going to get into lots of different subjects, but as we are wont to do, we are going to open up with the price chart that Enrique has put together. And I want you guys, look at that, 24.7%. Can you believe that, guys? Now, Enrique, for the uninitiated, and for those of you who've heard it before, I'm sorry, but we're getting lots of new viewers. Like over the last couple of weeks. It's awesome. So why don't you explain this and tell me about that 24.71%. Why don't you start with BTC?
Sure thing. All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you are.
Good morning.
Start with BTC. What I did here with this table is an exercise, a thought experiment of what would happen by investing $1,000 on the top 15 coins on September 3rd, 2021. So I took a snapshot of the prices at that date, and I'm comparing the performance of each coin. So we'll go ahead and start off with BTC. The price on September 3rd, 2021 was $49,420.22. The amount of coins that I could have bought with $1,000 would have been 0.02 Bitcoins. BTC, sorry. And if we compare the price today, we do a snapshot every Friday at 11:15 a.m. Eastern time, so that there's consistency in the measurements of the performance. So the price today at that time was $61,633.62. My portfolio of $1,000 would be worth today $1,247, and that represents a 24.71% increase.
Hey, let's just give it up for BTC.
It's impressive, no? It's certainly better than any other traditional investment you'll find. That's for sure.
Yeah, and look, we're approaching 2 months on this exercise. What is this, like the 7th week? So this is we're starting to get some good data here. What? Wait, what? Can you take me to the Epic one and just walk me through that? Because that is, I thought that was 23. I thought that was 23.7%, but I think I read that wrong. Can this possibly be?
Yeah, it's been doing outstandingly well, and we'll go through it right now. So the price on September the 3rd of this year for Epic was 32 cents. If you would have spent $1,000 to buy Epic, you would have gotten 3,125 coins. Moving forward to today, the price was $1.08. So in absolute value, your $1,000 portfolio would be worth $3,375, which represents a percentual increase of 237.50. So it's pretty impressive. Besides Epic, Solana has also done well. You'll see it was $142 on September 3rd, and today it's $213. It would be $1,498. That's what your portfolio would be worth for a 49.8% increase. And you can see the rest of the points.
What would the Epic price be again, the total?
The Epic price. Or yeah, no, the Epic, yeah, it's $1,000 about what, less than 2 months ago would be worth $3,375 today, 237%.
Even me doing uncle math, that's $2,375 that I'm in the green, because back in September 3rd, I started listening to this Uncle Vigilante guy say, hey, look, 30 cents is going to be in the rear view mirror. You might want to trust me on this. And then at 40 cents, I said it, and 50 cents and so on. And I just kind of want to say right now here today that a low, just over $1, I don't know, next week when we come back on, it's going to be in the rear view mirror soon. So, it's like at some point in time, you're going to wake up and you're going to say, maybe I should go down into the show description where it says how to buy Epic, both by video and by paper. And maybe you'll click on it. Very, very easy instructions. And one day you might just be bragging that you bought Epic Cash when it was just over $1. Just saying.
Absolutely. And one column that I would like to add maybe next week to this is the current market cap of each coin, so that viewers can also appreciate the potential for growth of the top 15 coins versus Epic.
Great idea.
Yeah. It's
Uncle, can you let Max in, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's Max. Hey, Max. Let me admit Enrique back, which I don't know why that's.
I still see him.
I do too. It's just not. Hey, can you talk, Enrique?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. It's like You're in the waiting room. Max, can you hear us?
I can.
Max, I just, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this coin called Epic Cash, but
I heard of it.
Did you see this? We just went through BTC. It's had a nice really run of 24.71%, but we're about 200
my beer.
higher.
How cute.
Do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I mean, the law of large numbers. For you to double your money in BTC, it costs, or it takes the world the force of will to muster another 1.2 trillion of financial energy. For you to double your money in Epic, it takes about 15 million bucks. So if a handful of people notice, you can double your money, whereas it needs a worldwide phase shift about what constitutes value to suck in to feed that monster on the BTC side.
I love it when you talk like that. I just love it. It just, gives me goosebumps, because that's when I finally started to realize that this micro cap, which I think you'd consider it a micro cap, that's when I started evaluating my entire portfolio, which, by the way, Uncle V is almost all pivoted out and into Epic Cash, because I believe my own videos. And right now we have a market cap of what, about 15 billion, or are we
million,
in there yet?
Million, no, billion is
I mean million.
A bit,
I mean million. Is it about 15 million?
Yeah, you're right. It's just that's few years from now, not now.
Yeah. So for this, I guess I'm looking at this saying an investment of $1.08. Do I think over a next little period of time to double my money, that that Epic Cash, based upon the trajectory that we have seen since September 3rd, the market cap back then was probably under 5 million bucks. So just in that period of time, we got 10 million market cap increase. So with this trajectory and all of the energy and all of the amazing things, the halving that's coming up, V3, which Yoga is going to talk about. If you don't think that we're going to get another 15 million to be able to double our market cap, in the very next short period of time, you just aren't paying attention. I love you, but I just want you to start paying attention, please.
And I think yoga has done some great thinking about how to explain the elasticity of Epic because of the unique nature of proof of work. Somebody looking at it going, I like the story. I want to invest 10 million bucks, but it's just not big enough. End of story. Oh no, not quite so much. Hash rate follows price, not the other way around. And so yoga, maybe you can share with the wider world what we were talking about earlier about the subtle elasticity aspects of the Epic blockchain protocol.
And it's really, guys, look, it's really nothing new. I mean, nothing that we actually haven't seen before with Bitcoin and later with Monero and with other cryptos. It's a gradual process. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, Epic is scarce. It is, the emission is capped at 21 million like Bitcoin, and currently we have about 12 million coins out there ish. And look, folks can average in just like they would with stocks, just like they would with other cryptos. And I encourage, I encourage people to do their own due diligence, before they invest, of course. But essentially, the value would go up as more people invest. It's as simple as that. I mean, if you got a $10 billion position that you want to shift suddenly into Epic for obvious reasons, it would have to be a gradual process. You can't just lump in. But as you do, more miners, more holders would consider parting with their hard-earned Epic. And of course, as somebody not too long ago offered to buy all of Epic for $5 million without having a background in arithmetic, you would really quickly realize that it would take a hell of a lot more than $5 million to buy, not to say to buy all of it. Well, first of all, market cap is like north of 15 million at this point, but
you just can't. You just can't execute that.
So
it doesn't work.
Essentially, what you do is you just go in gradually, and the market stretches to accommodate that, and allowing you to take a bigger and bigger and bigger position. And again, look, we've gone through the same thing with other cryptos. I mean, I remember when I couldn't put up a 50K order on Monero without wrecking the market. And today with their 5 billion market cap, that sounds ridiculous, and I remember when you can put in a 250K order, without moving the market up or down, and so on, so it's a growth process, and every crypto goes through that. And as long as there's elasticity and demand, but what's cool with Epic, again, the scarcity aspect of it, that there are only 21 million that are going to be printed. So if you're looking to diversify, let's say, Bitcoin reached respectable 66K, and there's some profit taking and some pulling back, and at this point it's sitting at like 60K, so you just shed like 10%, over the last couple of days, and you're looking to hedge into something else. Jason Williams and some of the other macro Bitcoin folks had this really awesome strategy when they were trying to pitch Bitcoin against gold, where gold is a very established asset. Pretty much everybody has gold somewhere on their person or in their portfolio on the planet. And to move Bitcoin, which was a relative newcomer, they were saying, well, look, only put in 1% of your investments. Just try it to, put the tip of your toe in the water kind of thing, and you'll see that it's good. And then average in. It's a solid strategy. Well, today we're looking at Bitcoin as a mature commodity because it's kind of behaving as a mature commodity. And what does that mean? Well, that gives you a certain amount of stability, although a 10% swing is kind of, it's not exactly stability. It's still vigorous, shall we say. But at the same time, you can go into Epic and using the same argument, you can say, well, Bitcoin today is not very likely to go 3x, whereas that's exactly what Epic did in the last few months, literally. So it does look like a compelling case for above average growth. And again, don't play with more you can afford to lose. But it certainly looks like it's more likely to go 10x, 100x, 1000x than an established commodity crypto like Bitcoin. Same argument exactly that was used for Bitcoin versus gold can be used for Epic versus Bitcoin. No different.
So right now,
Yeah.
Epic is at
Uncle V.
$1. 1 second. Right now, Epic is at $1.08. So for it to go 10x, that would be, let's just round it. Let's say it would be $11. So Max, what would have to go into Epic from a market cap standpoint to get it to $11? And that would be 10x. And then what would have to happen to Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever to also get that same 10x?
Yeah. So to get you a 10x in BTC, the world would need to come up with $120 trillion. So that's I don't know what the entire world GDP is. You'd have to get into purchasing power parity and all that, but BTC would have to absorb the entire equivalent of the world's economic output for a year into its market cap for you to 10x your money. And of course, there's many people that believe that not only that it will do it, but that it's a foregone conclusion that it must be so. And if you unpack their arguments, they really redound more to the benefit of Epic than BTC. But in the interest of time, we can leave those for another time when we can get more into it. Incidentally, a shameless plug for Freeman University on Telegram, t.me/FreemanU. If you want to earn some of our ECR equity and governance tokens to dig in and learn this stuff at every skill level from beginner to expert, come and join us. The corresponding figure in Epic is $100 million. So if we absorb a rounding error of the Shiba Inu daily trading volume, then we can 10x your money.
Can you do me a favor, Enrique, real quick on CoinMarketCap? Can you find $100 million market cap coin and tell me what its standing is? Is it like 500th or that would just be kind of cool to know that we would have to break the top 500 to 10x.
Yeah.
Hold that thought, Enrique, while you pull it up, because I think this is important. In the interest of transparency, like a lot of people are knocking on the door, hey, win Moon, win Binance, win this and that. And so in the interest of spreading information about catalysts on the radar as widely as possible, we have had contact with Indodax in Indonesia for quite some time. And their particular criterion that we were unable to meet earlier in the year that we will be able to, hopefully not too long, is, I believe, top 500. And they've indicated a willingness to support us when that happens. And so the way we can look at it is as we progress through the concentric circles of orders of magnitude change from 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000 and beyond, as BTC has, that those are the specific catalysts that make that happen. I keep coming back to the point of the bigger these things get, the bigger they can get. And so because of the way that the different algorithms are able to absorb energy from the world through the hash rate, which is not as bottlenecked as BTC with its ASIC mining, it can really expand to accommodate. So we should try not to run before we walk, and we need to not get ahead of ourselves. But we are thinking long-term and seeing sustainable value supported to the levels of success that BTC has achieved and well beyond, because BTC is kind of its own thing at this point with its own desired destiny. And if we're even remotely successful against our vision of what Epic turns out to be and the reasons to own and hold and use that scarce asset, then we could ultimately really view their ceiling as more of our floor. So this becomes less outlandish as we go on, but I'm on record as saying back when we were under a penny, you can go back and check it in the chats, that BTC has a better chance to hit 100 grand first, but we have a better chance to hit 1 million first. And again, the thinking behind that, we can get into it at Free EU, but there's some negative feedback loops and centralization and other bottlenecks and choke points around fees and certain things on BTC that simply don't exist here. And so as the scope of the possible of what it's sane to dream about shifts, the Overton window, I think it'll increasingly become a self-fulfilling prophecy as it sets up a little bit of a race condition of, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I don't want to be the slowest guy to absorb that. I want to be on the early side. And like nobody over the past 10 years of BTC said, man, I bought too much BTC and I wish I hadn't done that. I mean, okay, timing a little while if they bought at the wrong time in the cycle and didn't hold, but mostly the regret minimization exercise that people need to do, knowing what they know now, is I should have bought more and I shouldn't have sold it too soon. And so
Right.
when we were under a penny and the fudsters were saying, unplug it, fork it, quit and go home, you guys failed. We surveyed the miners and we said, what are your plans to start selling? And from the vantage point of under a penny, people had enough faith that 60% of respondents chose not just $10, which is the higher option, but they said 10 plus. And that was surprising. And if you survey early investors, a lot of people will point to that moment back in March 2020 at the nadir of the chart to say, wow, if those guys believe this really can turn into something. And here we are years later and it's happening.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And we do have the elastic capacity to absorb massive growth.
Can you unpack that right after Enrique tells us what position we'd have to be?
Yeah, 2 points. For us, if we get to a $500 million market cap, that would put us rank number 165. And yeah, and just going back to what you said earlier about if we have currently a $14-15 million market cap, that we would need $15 million for the price to double. That's not actually the case. Like if you go through the entire order book of the places that you can buy right now, Epic, which is in buy, it's actually a lot less. I mean, $15 million, that would send the price off the charts, you know? So
wow.
Currently you need a lot less money to double the price.
Yeah, and here's, and hold that thought, Uncle. Here's the other part that's not widely understood is in BTC, if you go to Robinhood and you buy some BTC, yay, I'm an owner. No, you can't withdraw that. And Robinhood doesn't even have to own the coins that it has sold you because it's a fractional reserve model. Even if it does acquire them, it can lend them out. And then now two people have it. So there's an epidemic of double spending going on with these centralized institutions on BTC that's opaque and off chain and nobody knows. But if you added up the total number of BTC on people's account statements that the world thinks they own, it's far in excess of 21 million. And Epic is not that way because you need to possess it to get the benefit of what you're holding it for, because it's not just the store of value, it's also the medium of exchange and the unit of account of the Epicenter ecosystem, and specifically the EUSD equity line of credit system.
Enrique, I know
just
that
one
you've
more
been.
thing. I'm working also on another thought experiment regarding the price of Epic. And yes, you would need a low six-figure amount of money to come in and buy Epic for it to double the price. So it's really, maybe we can do a show later on about this.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I know you're working on that. I know you're working on that project, and so let's dedicate an entire show to it because I'm fascinated by that. I didn't realize that to double the market cap, it didn't take the equal amount of money. That kind of goes over my head how that works.
This is you and Hoddleman should take some classes, man.
Hey, that's what we're waiting on, Enrique.
I'll teach them. I'll teach them in free you. If people are humble enough, even they as individuals, odious as they are, if they want to come to learn, my offer to them was genuine. Join free you, and we'll talk about it. And where we're wrong, I mean, our process is that iron sharpens fire, or iron sharpens iron, and we get stronger through the hardening process. And they would be adding value to our world through their cooperation in it. So the debate channel you set up, we keep waiting for a courageous maxi to show up. And let's get to understanding why the $1 trillion one despite its apparent immutable leadership position. Well, no, it's not really that way if you stop to examine your assumptions of what's really going on here.
I would like to just let everyone know that if they want to go to Telegram and search for Epic Cash versus BTC, with versus being VS period, you can go in there. That is an open invitation for any Bitcoin. I don't even want to say maxi, but anyone who is really knowledgeable about Bitcoin, who wants to come in and have a polite, engaged discussion on the positive attributes of BTC versus Epic Cash, we would invite you. We will treat you very kindly, and maybe we'll all learn something. So that's an open invitation. Yoga, I'm sorry, we interrupted you. You were talking about the elasticity.
No,
I
I pretty much wrapped it up. I mean, it is massively elastic because, you know, there's actually, I don't know, 8 million or so epics actually in play on Vite, and it definitely has the ability to absorb a lot of wealth. It's just that the price is going to ramp up. And what I was talking about is that, you know, we've seen all the major cryptos go through that. You know, we've seen Bitcoin go through that, you know, where you can spend $1,000, you know, or, you know, let alone $1 million, you know, without moving the market. You know, you spend 50 grand, you would move the Bitcoin market very dramatically in the early days. So this is just a normal part of the growing process, you know, and same thing happened with Ethereum and Monero and so on and so on. So, you know, so we can certainly accommodate the growth. And if somebody wants to, you know, as they were throwing casually, you know, $5 million offers, you know, sure, yeah, man, come in and buy the books, you know, and see where that takes you.
Yeah, and give me 1 second here.
And by the way, Max, while you're looking at your notes, but you know, even if you dump 5 million, 10 million, or whatever, okay, as the market expands, I still think it's a good investment, because you're still, even at that price point, your odds of going 10x to 100x will continue to remain much better than doing that with an aged commodity like Bitcoin or gold. Yeah. That's it. It's again, their math, their logic. Okay, I'm not discovering America here. Okay, I am leaning on their thesis, which I think is a good thesis, but I'm looking at them at today's point in time.
And I think an important, sorry to interject, but I just remembered. So the restrictions on use in BTC are quite astonishing, especially for the early people that got in and they're like, yeah, I have some BTC on my ledger with cold storage. They don't maybe realize that when you go to spend it, wait, what are all these new hoops I have to jump through? I have to tell you where it came from, how I got it, have I paid my taxes, who I got it from? Oh, you don't like my coins because I got them from this certain place? Like, as people wake up to go to email notices from your exchange saying we don't like your coins that we deposited from Trade Ogre or wherever, those stories are starting to accumulate in their numbers to wake people up and illuminate that this is a significant problem. And so I think people need to ask themselves, as a thought experiment, let's say BTC goes to 100 grand, then what? On the one hand, you've got a transparent ledger that people are talking about 80% tax rates for capital gains when you sell it, but also unrealized gains based on the mark-to-market value at the moment. And as we saw with the flash crash scam wicks yesterday, I think it was, where somebody sells and it crashes the price to 11,000 momentarily, even if it does require or recover, that can be catastrophic, especially if people are using leverage and synthetic products that they don't understand, or counterparty risk. So accumulating the wealth is one challenge, retaining it is another, and Epic offers superior confiscation resistance of how various parties can deny access to your hard-earned wealth or erode and siphon it in these various ways.
Hey, Max, I have what I think is going to be a really important question to ask you, but before I do, I want to announce to everyone, I have somebody in the chat who said, let's see, he says, Pirate Chain, the world's most private cryptocurrency. Arr! Well, I want to let everyone know that tomorrow night, Yoga and I are going to have Captain Draith himself, who's the lead over there, one of them at Pirate Chain, and he's going to come on and he's going to talk about a new project called Nightlife Crypto that he's very excited about. If you're a gamer, if you're a gambler, if you love privacy, you're going to want to tune in. It's going to be tomorrow night, Saturday night at 7 p.m. And it was going to be tonight, but my audio equipment went kaput, so I'm waiting for that to come in. But it'll be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Max Freeman, if I may, I am getting a lot of questions because now we've started to socialize the notion of Epic Cash and ECR and EUSD, and people are genuinely confused. And I'm a little slow up the on-ramp, admittedly. We're trying to figure out exactly how it works when we have said out loud that I'm going to be the bank of Uncle V, and I'm going to be able to borrow from myself. Can you please just in simple terms kind of describe how that would work functionally? How would we do that?
Sure. So the initial mobile wallet that'll come out post V3 will be very simple, just for sending transactions, address book, all that type of stuff. But based on that foundation, we can evolve it quite a bit. And so the desired user experience that we're going for looks something like this. Maybe we get there stepwise in a couple of phases, and it starts out a little more steps and hurdles to jump through, and we make it easier over time, like we've done with Epic itself and what we have so far. So essentially, let's say you have 1,000 Epic in your wallet. We've done a great job, and they're $1,000, and now you're a millionaire. You want to go spend some money. Let's say you want to buy a car, and it costs $100,000. Let's say an old pickup truck from 2007, not running, no tires, but 100,000. You take it. That's a hyperinflation joke. So you need 100,000 to get the car. Now, sellers are starting to wise up to the fact that the Federal Reserve note has certain functional restrictions that makes it less valuable than EUSD. So it'll trade at some sort of premium. It's a crypto dollar rather than a stable coin. So the goal is rather to make sure that it doesn't go below $1 and collapse, rather than trying to keep it stable at $1. That's the difference between our crypto dollar and other assets that do similar things that are more properly referred to as stable coins. So using it as a direct medium of exchange to pay the seller directly in EUSD is the preferred solution, but there will be a variety of on and off ramps, such as through partners like Bitmart, and there's some other initiatives forming on that fiat front that are too nascent to speak about yet. So let's say the seller wants fiat. Okay, well, you've just given yourself an EUSD loan. In the start of the system, you would have to lock up 20% of your coins, so 20% of your Epic. That's $200,000 worth of value to make sure that there's more collateral inside the system than is needed to support the 100,000 EUSD loan in case the price of Epic collapses. Basically, we're trying to protect against market manipulators crashing Epic to mess with EUSD and blowing everybody up to steal their money. We've learned from the experience of systems such as Maker during tail risk type events, and really tried to tampen down the risks. So you've put 20% of your Epic aside, and you've issued yourself a 100,000 EUSD loan, and you've given that to the seller. Now you have your car. What happens from there? So there's no interest, no payments. But if you want your Epic coins back, then you got to come up with 100,000 EUSD to pay off the loan. The good news is the likelihood of them continuing, or the likelihood of them turning off the money printer is fairly slim at this point. So you can integrate that into your planning. And the future value of $1 is likely to be significantly less than today. So you're preserving the capital appreciation of your Epic by not having to sell it. You've shrunk the supply of Epic that's out there into the market for new people to come and absorb. They're going to have to go and face that scarcity wall of difficulty of acquisition. So there's another benefit there. And you're on the right side of hyperinflation for once. Every time Jerome Powell goes on TV, you guys should be rooting him on. He's our friend now.
Yeah.
Okay, but what just kind of goes over my head is how would I would I create that loan to myself? Where would I do I stake it?
No, through the wallet app. So yeah, so essentially what you're doing is you are depositing your coins into a smart contract on, let's just use Ethereum as an example. The other blockchains will of course be supported, but you're basically like locking your coins into the Ethereum blockchain as security for that loan. And then when that loan gets paid, the coins can get unlocked as well. That's how it works.
Do you need ECR to do that?
Yes, of course.
Okay, well, we don't understand the connection. How much ECR? Like I can understand the locking up 200,000. How much ECR do you need? Do you have to have 200? Huh?
So we don't know yet, but the way that we figure that out, there's a governance group that has about 50 people that everyone's welcome to join. We can grab that link and throw it in the notes for those who are interested. So basically we as a community decide what that needs to look like. And then the way that we make it official is putting it out to the community on the ECR subnet on WAN chain and vote on it. So, what that needs to look like, we decide that together.
But what if you war gamed it? If you just like back of the napkin, not holding you to it, what might be?
I have no idea. I mean, so ultimately we need to bring EUSD more and more stable. It shouldn't go too much below $1, but if it goes too much above $1, then that's not good either, because ultimately the market for an asset that has solved the volatility problem is many orders of magnitude beyond the opportunity for a pure store of value that has volatility like BTC or Epic in its native form without any of this other stuff coming into the environment around it.
But you would need the ECR to be able to do the smart contract, right?
So are you okay? So the membership stores, like you walk into a Costco and you just simply can't transact. They don't let you in the building unless you're a member. Right. All of our wonderful stuff that we're building, you need to have ECR to do it. Now, beyond the fact that you have at least one token, how much extra, who knows? Like that's ECR is like your membership pass to be inside our world. And once you're in the boat, we want to do as much for you as possible while requesting as little of you as possible. Okay. A lot of other protocols, not to mention any names, but if you lock up your stake and then you need your money, you're hit with huge penalties, and that sucks. So we're trying to make it as fluid as possible, where we don't do long lockups for people or require more economic resources, that's known as capital efficiency, as possible. So there's a lot more coming on that. The EUSD white paper is not out yet, but it will be as similarly exhaustive and thoroughly considered as the rest of the parts.
in my simple mind, needing to dumb it down so that I'll understand it, I guess what I'm thinking about right now as kind of a newbie investor in all of this is I need to start thinking about also investing a little of my whether fiat dollars or whether I convert others in my portfolio to ECR as well, because that's my membership fee. But what I don't know right now is if I'm dollar cost averaging, should I put 90% into Epic Cash and 10% into ECR? I know you can't answer it. And tell us, but ultimately that's what people are kind of asking.
Yeah, so we can answer it, and I recommend learning from either Hayek or Ludwig in Free U to learn about wealth accumulation. So putting together a solid plan. I mean, we don't know the final numbers, but we know like a range of numbers that they might be, and that's enough to get started on. Basically, in this type of environment with imperfect and incomplete dissemination of information, those who take the time to understand something and get into it before it's well and widely understood can create a lot of value for themselves. And so if you want to, understand it at the bleeding edge rather than the leading edge of the curve, Free You would be the place for that particular topic.
Excellent. Excellent. It is absolutely my go-to site, or not site, my Telegram channel, to where I'll go in there and I will just read through it every day. And I always learn something. So t.me/Freeman, U, not YOU, but just the letter U at the end. So yeah, thank you for that. And I know that, I mean, the bottom line is, I hope the takeaway here for people is that Max and team are just so forward thinking in the engineering of the whole ecosystem versus just, hey, we have Epic Cash. Epic Cash is awesome, but there is an entire ecosystem that we're going to be able to leverage to where, imagine borrowing money from yourself to where inflation becomes your friend. You're not taking any of your precious Epic Cash and selling it to be able to buy that 100,000 truck, and you better round that up because that creates a taxable event. Now you don't have that Epic Cash anymore that is going to continue to appreciate. You've just figured out a way through, the supercomputer brain of Max and company. You have figured a way on being able to get dirty fiat out of the system to be able to pay for that $100,000 1971 truck. And it's a beautiful thing. You tell me, please drop it in the chat. You tell me any other project out there that is speaking like this, that's giving you insight, vision into the future. And then come back to me when I still say I told you so. And I say, remember when it was at $1.08? And I was like, guys, it's on sale. It's a fire sale right now. Just listen to me on that, because the genius behind that design is people are going to be able to get access to fiat, non-taxable, without degrading their portfolio. And when they do, it stakes the supply. So you're taking supply off the market and price go up when you do, because of the 21 million coin scarcity, the design that matches Bitcoin, not BTC, that is fractionally reserved.
And if you really look at that, it becomes quite profound, because the supply integrity of BTC is fairly loose through fractional reserve, rehypothecation, and synthetic instruments. All the Wall Street type of stuff effectively serves to allow parties to double spend and gain the economic benefit of coins they don't actually own in various ways, or let's say possess the keys to. And so the edifice of BTC depends on HODL. That's the religion. You are a traitor to the cause if you sell for any purpose. Whereas with Epic, the most patriotic thing that you can do to help the nation of freemen is to go out and spend to your heart's content. And the more you do, the more you help Epic. So get out there and stimulate the economy.
And by doing that, you're not keep coming back. You're not creating a taxable event, and your wealth is just going to increase. And that 100,000 loan, because of inflation and potentially hyperinflation, is going to be just, you'll never have to address it.
Not potentially, inevitably.
Right.
What's that?
Inevitably. It's not potentially, it's inevitably.
Inevitably. Yeah. Inevitably.
Good, Enrique, good call.
Yeah, 450 fiat currencies died in the 20th century, which is 100%. The only currency that has not ceased to exist over the long term of this type is the British pound, which is the longest lived since the late 1600s. But even there, it used to be an actual pound of silver, and now it's like 0.00 whatever. So you've effectively lost 99% or whatever. The corresponding figure for the Federal Reserve note is about 97% since 1913.
Gee.
So long term, it's just math. And if you take the time to understand the first principles behind it, then you can set aside the speculation, you can put a price on the utility, and do the numbers from there. With Epic, a little bit goes a long way. Everybody that has even a single coin will be a baller in this new world order.
Well, you know what? I want to be a bigger baller. And so that's why I'm evangelizing that guys, the time to be able to get into the game is now. Just like I said, when it was 24 cents. And I'm going to be saying the time to get into the game is now at $10. I promise you. And then we're going to have really fun going back and finding some of these clips. But
so, Uncle V, you nailed it with, and this may sound like a kind of a counterintuitive marketing, but today is the worst day for Epic Cash.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, because inevitably tomorrow is going to be better, because the fundamentals have not changed between today and tomorrow. The only thing that changes is the discovery. More people know about it. More people find use cases about it. There are 140 million people holding Bitcoin directly or indirectly. Think about that, 140 million, okay?
Wow.
They're considerably less, right on. Thank you, Federal Reserve. There are considerably less people at this time holding Epic Cash. If we look, you were talking about proportions earlier. If we were to match, let's say, market cap of, let's say, Pirate Chain even, okay? We're looking at a $30 coin. We're looking at a $30 Epic Cash price. If we were to match, let's say, Zcash, market cap, you're looking at like 160 or whatever, like over $100 coin. Okay. If you're looking at, and I'm just going up the list of like privacy coins, just privacy coins.
Yeah.
If you're looking at matching market cap of, let's say, Monero, okay, with its 5 billion ish, okay, you're looking at about a 370 ish. I'm playing loose with the figures here, but I'm in the ballpark. So you're looking at about a 370 ish dollar Epic Cash coin. So again, the fundamentals are set. The scarcity is set at 21 million. The halving is coming in. So the emission is slowing down. The difficulty is going up, and the discovery is happening daily. The use cases are coming up daily. So there is your trajectory. So every day going forward is the last day of the worst day of Epic Cash, and next day is inevitably better. That's freaking awesome.
That's amazing, because I can now play Todd Radamus and tell you that
I see a new character coming.
I can tell you that next Friday is going to be the worst day of Epic ever.
Yeah, that's it.
Until Saturday. Next
Well,
Saturday.
it's been horrible so far. I can't tell you. I've been suffering for years.
Right. Every day has been better. So therefore, the prior,
you know what I'm finding? You know what I'm finding? Because I, like a lot of people who are probably here, I got into the crypto vigilante and the dollar vigilante and stuff. And what I'm finding is, when I first got into Epic Cash, the tribes, because it is fairly tribal everywhere. When you're invested, it's like you just want to hold on for dear life in what you own and know. And admittedly, when I first started talking to you, Max, on that shitcoin trial, I didn't know anything about Epic Cash. And you were gracious enough to invest your time, and then subsequently continued to come on my show, and we would talk more and more. And I got smarter, and other people got smarter, and it took me to t.me/Epic Cash. I started to learn more and more. And, it was like people, I tried to go to these people in my life that I consider to be friends, long distance friends, who I know were also in Pirate and also in Monero and all of this, and not say either or, but both and. I just wanted them to consider Epic Cash, but I just came across I got dude, it's a $3.5 million market cap. Come on, eye roll. And that kind of hurt my feelings at first until I started to realize that, holy cow,
What's
like
my potential upside? Oh,
my
baby.
potential upside is sick with this. And then the more I started talking to you and the more comfortable I started to get, the more I started to pivot out. And here I'm seeing some of my friends who are trying to catch a falling knife, and they're starting to wake up. I'm starting to get lots of inquiries like, now, how do you buy Epic Cash again? Boy, Epic Cash, it sure is performing well. What's going on? Do you have some big whales coming in or something? I know it's the fundamentals, man. It's the design. It's the genius behind the ecosystem. So that's where I know the price is going up because I see it. Because I have this platform and I see the dealers.
Today, there's 11,520 coins that the network produces. It's 8 per block, 1,440 times per day. And once the halving hits, which is about a week or so, more or less, we know the block number, but not the precise date based on the way the network works, that it goes down to 4 per block. So it's only 5,760. And so we don't know who the miners are, of course, because on Epic, everything is confidential. But we do know that a lot of miners are mining because they have a gaming rig and they want some extra income, not because they really care deeply about cryptocurrency. Like I'm a student in my dorm, I can mine some ETH and sell it to pay for, whatever. So the miner's job is to mine, not to be hodling long-term speculators necessarily. And so there's a supply shock coming that when coupled with the dynamics that Enrique mentioned, could be quite substantial. And so that's why in the Epicenter Hello World document, we reference the log scale progression of the halvings with the different eras in BTC. And then that's kind of on steroids and in hyperdrive because Epic has another one 2 years from now. It goes from 5760 down to 2880. And then a little over 2 years later, it goes from 2880 to 1440. And then finally at the singularity, this one's going to be fun. So 1440 coins a day, it's not a halving. In order to match BTC, it has to go down 85%. To 210 coins per day. So already now we've got probably 4,000 or 5,000 computers, maybe more. We're looking at getting the data now. The hash rate's up a lot, mining to share that scarce pool of coins. And only 7 years from now, it'll be 210 coins for the entire planet of billions of people, and every inch of silicon, not bottlenecked through the necessary step of acquiring ASIC mining equipment from Bitmain and plugging it into a volcano.
I hope people rewind and listen to that over and over and over again, and then rewind a little further when Max did Maxtradamus and said Epic will get to 1 million per coin first. I believe you.
And I don't play the prediction game much. I just kind of make recommendations to my friends, like what to mine when they're mining, because my background is kind of mining, really, as a mining nerd.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who are like famous statisticians, and they do a lot of TA analysis and a lot of really cool things. Even at institutional levels, like there's this leading forecasting institution in Japan that's leading forecasting institution in Japan. But as Nassim Taleb pointed out, that they've been wrong 100% in their predictions, in all of their major predictions. And nevertheless, they represent Japan, in predictions and analytics. I have a very humble personal record of writing an article on the merits of mining Bitcoin right around August 23rd, 2011, when Bitcoin was at about $10, and getting some folks into Monero when it was about $6. I just don't see a downside in trying. To explore something like this. Okay. I really don't see the downside in trying, so
buy 1 coin for $1.
And I'll pitch it again. Clear your garage, do a garage sale. and buy some Epic, because worst case scenario, you're going to end up with a clean garage.
Now, post V3, another thing that's going to become possible is micro tipping through Telegram on CoinKit. That's been bottlenecked for some time. So everybody in our groups, I'm sure people have seen that people are starting to use Epic Fund Me quite a bit. SRB Miner just received 1,500 Epic for their support. I think it was AMD or some kind of bottleneck that was a pain point for a long time. And there was a market opportunity, and they saw it and responded. And then they have actually been able to get some support, which hopefully encourages more of that kind of thing. And the way that we take the friction out is just do it right through Telegram. And so that's another example of some of the added utility that we think will support these increasing numbers.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I tell you, I felt so good. I usually give my daughter cash for her birthday, and her birthday was on the 18th. And we went to dinner, and she's so used to, it's just Pavlovian to where she opens it up, and maybe a couple $100 bills will fall out, and she opened it up and there was nothing fell out, just the instructions to send me her Vite address, which means she's going to have to download the wallet. And I told her how to do that over dinner. And so she finally did. She sent me her Vite address, and she got a nice little chunk from Papa. Now she's in the game. Now she's asking questions. Now she's asking, well, I don't understand this. How do I get money out of this? Then
learn and profit.
How do I get the $500 worth of value out of this? And I'm like, you know what, honey, if you really need it, come talk to me. If you really need it, but definitely don't sell those coins. She doesn't get it yet, but she will when she starts playing with her coin market cap. We downloaded that, and I put Epic in there. She's going to start seeing that go up as Enrique every week keeps coming back. And she's going to be like, whoa. And then she's going to get it. And it'll be just beautiful.
A few Epic will go a long way.
Yep.
Right.
One coin, even one coin is going to be a huge amount of money. I mean, in BTC, it's $60,000 and you can't even do anything with it.
That's true.
Well, folks, I just kind of want to get to the V3 parts, because we're up into an hour here, and I just want to kind of
thank you.
Just sum things up.
And I got to jump too. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you, Max.
Thanks a lot, Max. Thank you. So really quick on the V3, we're talking about how we finished V3 and we tested it ad nauseum, and we're pretty comfortable with just turning it on. Until, and this is kind of our fault, that people become a little bit jaded with technology, and we kind of we live in it every day, 24/7, and we kind of take some things for granted. And V3 is the most major update we've done. Okay, it's a major code update, and if in the past we were able to just kind of do like rolling update where you install the client and you just keep running, and if you don't install the client, you're still running on the old version to a certain day. And with V3, the way the implementation was looking, people would have to basically stop the old and start the new. Okay, so you would essentially and you have to do it at the right time, otherwise there would be kind of an interruption in your continuity. Okay, and talking to the designers, talking to our top devs, that idea kind of seemed suboptimal. It's a little drastic. And for our exchange partners, for our mining pool partners, it's kind of and for our community, especially for the new folks who are just getting into Epic, the process that, well, this happens on a particular day, so you kind of have to know when you stop the old client. It's not even that when you stop the client, when the client stops working, when your server stops working hard, just shuts off. Okay. So we decided to not, and especially, can you imagine somebody who has not been following the forums, and we can't take for granted that everybody's tuned in into every minute of our development, right? So people have a small heart attack, if their thing stalls or whatever, and they have to scramble and go to the Telegram or go to other channels and find out. So the dev team realized that with a little bit more work, they can smooth out the transition big time. And so to a point that, and this is going to happen post halving. So we're looking at about a 4-week window, because halving is coming up, and then a few weeks after that is when we're looking at doing this. So what we're going to do the halving. The halving, it's not that we're going to do it. The halving is set. It's going to happen. Okay. So when the halving happens, and then after that, at some point, we release the V3 file. We'll release the V3 upgrade, and people will be able to install it. And in the meantime, people who are running V2 would still be able to interact. They'll still be able to send Epic back and forth between V3 and V2. And this is a very important nuance, the maintenance of the continuity. Okay.
Yes.
And then at some point, we would give people time in advance. We'll give people a couple of weeks time in advance or 3 weeks or even maybe a month, okay, to when we finally do the complete transition to V3. Okay. So and what happens so the key features of V3 would come into play at that point in time. But it's a much smoother transition, so that there isn't going to be an interruption in mining. There isn't going to be an interruption in sending throughout this entire cycle. Okay. Smart. which is really, really important. Okay. And we ramped up. We're doing, there's going to be some automated testing done. There's going to be some, community volunteer testing done, as far as the transition goes. So before we deploy to the mainnet, the good news is the actual code and everything, the V3 code is done. It's the transition part of it. It's the backwards compatibility part of it that we just need to make sure that we really, really nail. And I think everybody benefits from this. And it's just, we would have been able to do something like this, when, in our first year, kind of. But as we become a bigger project, with thousands and thousands of people, we have much greater level of responsibility to make this as painless as possible. And as we attract people who are crypto curious and they become, crypto holders and crypto miners, we want to avoid any trauma, any learning trauma,
100%.
So that's kind of the approach that the devs decided to take on this, and we're with it. That we think there's really, I don't see any negative.
No. It seems to me, if I'm hearing you right, that you're just not going to get all the shiny objects from V3 until that complete transition is complete, right?
Right.
Okay.
But everybody will be able to kind of ease themselves into it, and for the people, it just gives people a bigger window to kind of catch up, that, hey, there's this new version. But in the meantime, they can still send, like, if, let's say if you don't tune in, but you're sending Epic, you're using Epic and you're receiving Epic, and we'll tweet about it. We will YouTube about this. We will, of course, Telegram about it. We'll spread the word to our community and, tell friends to tell a friend kind of thing, to get this awareness that, hey, this is happening. But what we want to avoid is any interruption to the business as usual for people transacting in Epic, because the ecosystem has grown so much so that this is, we're still a volunteer project, but man, we're kind of a big deal. We're kind of a much bigger.
Well, if people only knew the people behind the scenes who choose to remain anonymous, that they just don't want any attention. If people just knew who these people are who have transitioned over to our project, it'd blow your mind. It would any BT maxi, who likes to mock us. it would just look foolish.
Guys, look,
And they do.
I'm kind of done with the V3 part, but let me just talk a little bit about when BT Maxis talk about their depth of code base and innovation and so on. I believe Hodl or somebody said, when somebody said, well, how come Bitcoin doesn't have so many coders like Ethereum, for example, or some other, massively staffed up project? And his analogy was, well, that's like comparing NFL, how come there's so many less players in NFL than there in high school football? And that's a fallacy, because honestly, look, Bitcoin hasn't innovated jack shit since Satoshi launched the code. I mean, if
but
it
Lightning,
did,
the Lightning Network,
yeah,
you
it's
know,
got
you can
layers.
layer things.
Yeah, like
Yoga.
like a chalupa. It's got like crispy and crunchy and soft shell thing in it, with a 7-layer
chalupa.
dip, but that's not really a thing, because the honest truth is, if you want to look at code base innovation, BTC is a 13-year-old code base, and
Right.
that's it. And if Hodl had any technical background at all, he wouldn't have, said that what he said. But he doesn't, and he didn't, and that's okay. But for the rest of us grown-ups, look, you just got to be honest about things, okay? And the basic truth is that BTC doesn't have. It had a lot of amazing coders. By the way, some of them left and were like demonized by the community, because they basically said, hey, this thing played out. It's done. There's really nothing there. And their biggest code thing was basically the big block versus the small block guys. That's not really innovation in any shape or form. There's really... Anyway, it's 13-year-old tech. That's it. Done. Sorry. I mean, that was it. Okay. It was an amazing horse buggy, and it served us well. But it's time to get into that Tesla and kick in that autopilot.
Well, I just wanted to, we have talked about this person. And so I just wanted to quickly, so that we could kind of finish this off with a little bit of fun. Let me.
I'm afraid to guess where this is going.
Let me do a little screen share.
Make sure you don't.
I want you guys to meet the Hodl bunch.
That's right.
So yeah, this was Max, Mike Mamola on our team. There's our friend Yoga. Yep. But these were the dudes that basically this guy invited Max on to be able to talk about Epic Cash, and because he didn't really understand it, but then he said, I know some people who do. So he got this American Hodl guy, and we got Ginger or whatever her name is. Well, yeah,
Dustin.
Dustbin. Yeah, Dustbin.
Yep.
And then this dude. And then this is the guy who wrote this book, Bitcoin Hard Money.
By the way, great book and an awesome primer on why you should own Epic Cash.
Yeah, he's the man. So read his book. Bitcoin, hard money you can't F with. But every time you read Bitcoin or see Bitcoin, just replace it with Epic Cash, and then you'll start.
Yeah, and anytime you come across a white elephant, and there's like a sizable herd of white elephants in that book, every time you get like a weird question from reading what he is saying, you'll realize that those questions are answered by Epic Cash. So it's an awesome book. I mean, to me, this is like Epic Primer Volume 1.
Yeah, well, it was just a total hit interview, and each of them looked absolutely ridiculous. It was just painful to watch, and but we gained so much out of it, because it really rallied the Epic Cash community around how ridiculous it was, and it created projects like, American Hodl. Hey, what's your market cap? And Max said 4 million. And he goes,
5 million. That was actually me that said that. But yeah, no, look, guys, it's all good, and there's always the court of public opinion and so on, and yeah.
But let me finish. Let me finish my mock, please.
Sorry.
Because he laughed 4 million, and so he goes, I could buy all of Epic Cash for your market, or I'll buy all the Epic Cash for $5 million. So Enrique is like, okay, let's just do the math. And that's the project that he's working on. And I think sometime next week, we'll come back and we'll have a show where we'll unpack that. If American HODL was right, if he really could buy all of our Epic Cash for $5 million, we'll see. We'll see. So, all right, guys, we are running up on 111. I kind of like that number. So let's wrap it up. Thank you, everyone in the chat. See us here next week, same time. Enrique, great to see you. And Yoga, we'll see you
guys.
Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. here.
Yep, I'll have my camera on. So hey,
beautiful.
Peace
All
out.
right. Hey, thanks everyone. Have an